From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings, LA, with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check of 2021 passed. All those clusters of checks in that recon passed. Cluster number one, hazard pay and elder care, passed. Cluster number two's checks in there passed. Home repairs and paid leave passed. And then seniors and free internet in cluster number three passed. And guess what? The progressives today saying that all the items that are staying in there, all the items are staying in there. Everything that was passed is staying passed. That there will be no reduction of an item in there either. Moreover, the only changes will be on the back end for items that don't really even concern you. Duration, perhaps going from 10 years to 9 years, and taxes changing corporate rates and personal rich people's taxes. In this recording, we'll go over all the incredible details as that $3.5 trillion recon passed, and we'll go over that inclusion of that IRS stimulus checks. And negotiations are near complete for that inclusion of that monthly stimulus check, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. So says no less than 1,000 Democratic leaders to the viewers of this channel. Senators and House members telling viewers day in, day out, and all this week as well. We'll go over what's next for the recon, what is going to get changed on that back end, and how this works for you. We'll go over the advocacy and how the advocacy of this channel has now brought this channel to the core of the negotiations. The Democrats want to hear from you, and they want to hear your advocacy. And guess what? You've been doing a great job. Then we'll go tune back over to third stimulus and the additional cash infusion that you can get for rent, utilities, and food and internet. It's a big evening, and it's an exciting evening as your recon pass, and everything that's in there is staying in there. And from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the high to the low, we got it all coming up tonight, and this is Evening to LA. Beautiful day wherever you are. Thank you for joining me on a beautiful night. The weather is gorgeous where I am. Hope the weather is good where you are. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you are. Well, the great news as we go into a big night across the board is that recon pass, and that everything that's in that recon is staying in that recon. Wow. We'll go over all the incredible details as cluster number one passed, 2 and 3, and they're all staying in, and nothing is getting reduced. We'll go over what those changes mean on the back end and what it's involving, and then we'll go those IRS stimulus checks with no less than 1,000 viewers being told it's going in there. I got all those exciting details and more, and third stimulus, boy, we got a great night, and this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's go over to the great, exciting details as your recon passed. A House Sub-Budget Committee, no less than 2 weeks ago, passed your recon after the House and Senate passed your recon procedural weeks earlier. And this is huge because now the Progressive Caucus says today and all this week that everything that passed is staying in there. Cluster number one's checks we're going to go to first. This is hazard pay. This is $4,000 of elder care, and they got it in there. Let's go over the cluster number one's checks that passed. First, hazard pay. This is huge. This is taking the old earned income tax credit code, broadening the eligibility, increasing the payouts for all those essential workers. Then up to $4,000 a year to care for an elderly person. This is huge. Then up to $4,000 a year to care for a young child. They got grants in there for college students. So grants that go to the university and also the student, and then the Pell's grant made tax-free. They got money in there, grants for home repairs, free money if you live in a low-income community. Big, great deal. Then up to $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks got in there. This is the CTC, the child tax credit, broadening the eligibility and paying it over more years. How does this work? Up to $300 every month, every year, for up to 18 years of that household is a low-income family household. Then they got under this cluster number one passed, Money for bikes, cars, and trucks. Wow. All electric, all U.S. auto manufactured. Up to 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike. Up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric car. Personal use, a little bit more for business use. And then for an electric truck. Wow. We got all those checks passed in cluster number 1, but now it's time to turn to cluster number 2's checks. And those passed include home repairs and paid leave. Yes, more home repairs. And let's start with that paid leave. It's paid family leave and paid medical leave. And how much does it pay? A lot. Under third stimulus, it was $1,700 a week for an individual who makes more than $70,000 a year. Split it in half. $35,000 a year, that's $800 a week. Split in half. $400 a week if you make $15,000 more per year. Paid family leave, you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Paid medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. Other checks in the second cluster passed include childcare programs, household tax credits, Medicare benefits like dental, vision, and hearing, and then pre-kindergarten totally free. Then they got weatherizing your home checks in there. Wow, definitely need, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, weatherize your home to keep the moderate Democrats out of the House and keep them out of the Senate as well. Then we got free community college across the country. Definitely needed for that people that say, what the world is LATE saying? Now you can take the class called What the World is LATE Saying 101. You can be fluent in LALATE. And now if you want to be bilingual, you can take the 202 version of the class called Los Angeles. The foreign language of Los Angeles. Yeah, they talk really strange out there. Then we got more checks coming. This was cluster number 2 passed by that House Budget Committee. After the recon procedural pass, we'll get what? With time for our third cluster checks passed. And these are seniors checks pass and free internet pass. Wow, these are so exciting. I hope you feel the excitement I'm feeling. Let's go over the third cluster checks, and they start right now. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care checks. Wow. Now, the president likes this cluster a lot. I do too, because they're instant savings. First, cheaper prescription medication. Let's say you go to the pharmacist and say, Mr. Pharmacist, I have a headache. Oh, you do, LA? From what? Listening to the moderate Democrats? Yeah, how'd you know? How do you fix that? He says, seats for stimulus. No, I mean a prescription. Oh, yeah, that's $40. So you take two $20 bills out of your wallet. When you go back to refill the prescription, after this becomes law, it may only be $20. Instant savings to the wallet. Then they're going to offer free internet in this third cluster. Yes. So all you have to do is say, what's the username and password? Because the federal government is going to give fortunes to the city, counties, and states so they can offer free internet to you. All you have to say is, what's the username? It is Goth Gang, go away. And what's the password? It's DC Reese. There you go. I like that. Coming up later in this video, we'll go over the dramatics and explain why everything in these three clusters are staying there. Every item that is now passed is staying in there. Everything is staying past, and that the programs will not be reduced either. So I just went over with you, for example, $4,000 to care for the elderly. It's not getting reduced to $3,500. It's still staying at $4,000. I'll explain later in this video what is getting changed. It doesn't concern you. It's the back end. It's the duration and the tax implications, not your money. This is for corporations and rich people. But now let's turn to the big exciting details about that IRS stimulus checks as negotiations are near complete. For that inclusion of those monthly stimulus checks, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Single individuals, $75,000 or less. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Double it. SSI and SSDI, you get a check, yes, and also up to a family of 4. No less than 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told that it's going in there. The reassurances continued this week, continued last week, after viewers advocated. And they advocated to Senators Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden. And you should as well. Have you made 3 phone calls today? AOC, Omar, Jalapal, and also Sheila Jackson and Pelosi. The great news is that in the last 7 days, one of the number one parts of the ingredient said yes. Who? Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's office tells Donnie's wife that he will be inserting a monthly stimulus check provision. Now, this is big. Remember, because why? He's a senator. There's 2 ways to insert that IRS stimulus check provision. On the House side, during the recon revisions or on the Senate side during the vote-a-rama. Let's recap. The voting, I told you a long time ago exclusively, would start on the House side first votes, on the House side first. So the House members, they can put the language in during the subcommittee, passed 2 weeks ago, on the subfloor of the House when that goes for a vote. And that's what the House members can do. But what could the senators do? The senators, like Schumer, Sanders, Warren, Casey, Coons, Wyden, all senators who have said they're going to insert it, can insert it during the 2-day vote-a-rama. And who calls, determines what votes when and how? Chuck Schumer. This is a biggie, and you need to advocate as well. Later in this video, we'll go over what that advocacy now looks like, because now we have 3 viewers getting confirmation from Bernie since the passage. We have AOC Omar and Jalapal's office confirming as well. Viewers are getting that advocacy in, and they're getting that incredible statement back. But the big surprise is now this channel is part of getting this recon over the finish line. And why is that case? I'll have all those details and more. I'll be going over third stimulus. I'll be going over fixing the recon on the back end with the taxes. I'll be going over the nonprofits. Want a new refrigerator? Viewers are getting that as well. We got a lot coming up, and it's just getting started. And I'll see you back as Evenings LA continues in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA, direct from Santa Monica with incredible great details as your recon passed. A $3.5 trillion recon passing in a House Budget Subcommittee. This is after the recon procedural passed both the House and Senate. That's law. The cluster number 1 getting in there, 2 getting passed, 3 getting passed, and all will stay passed. Nothing getting reduced. So what's getting changed on the back end? That's coming up right now. I'll explain what's getting changed on the back end. I'll be going over more to those IRS stimulus checks that the Democratic caucus have told viewers over and continuing on this channel. Then we'll be turning to why this channel is now part of the equation to get that recon over the finish line. And then we'll be cutting to the big exciting details of third stimulus. I hope you get that money, because that money is available right now, including the nonprofits. We got a lot coming up, and it's just getting started, and this is LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Coming up next is our new hit show. It's called Evenings Countdown. You're loving it. This video will automatically take you to there. Evenings coming out countdown every night at 6 p.m. Then shows at 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30 every night on this channel, including Sirloin at 8 o'clock. So don't miss it. Subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Meantime, let's go right into that big surprise across the board. A viewer of this channel spoke end of last week to a top aide in Senator Bernie Sanders' office in D.C. and was told the following, that this channel is now important to the equation to getting the recon over the finish line. What happened? Your advocacy, my recordings. Here's what's going on. Broadcast media is really not informing the American people of what this recon is, let alone what these checks are, what are the programs of this recon, and what is coming your way. And so a lot of legislators have not had an opportunity to have their citizens really informed about the subject matter. You, however, are very informed. And with your information, you've been able to advocate. I've been saying pick up the phone and advocate for stimulus. And those avocations, I said, bring them to those senators, bring them to those House members, flood their offices with those phone calls. Tell them why you need it, because ultimately they will talk amongst each other. Have you been getting those LA phone calls? Have you been getting those LA phone calls? They're impressive. That's what's now happened. Senator Sanders' top aide tells a viewer of this channel that Sanders' office is so impressed by your advocacy, so impressed by these recordings, so impressed by your information about the recon, that they are now keeping track, logging all your advocacy statements, whether they're by emails, whether they're by voicemails, whether they are by calling to staffers, recording it and keeping track of it so that they can share it with anyone that is potentially on the other side of the negotiations, saying, here, I have people from your state calling up my office and their LA viewers saying they want that recon. I have people calling up from red states, blue states, because that's what LALATE is about. LALATE is not a political channel, it's a news channel. And viewers of this channel who want this recon include Republicans, include Democratic viewers, include people in red states like Texas and Florida, include people in blue states like New York and New Jersey. They want this money. And that is why it's a common theme. And the advocacy has now worked. Now, when we look at Ben Tolchin, who's a fascinating Democratic pollster, he had a fascinating comment just a few days ago. He said, during the Obama administration, Obama would have done differently than how Biden's doing it. Ironically, I'm doing a little bit like how Obama would do it. Tolchin says Obama would have gone to the home state of Arizona for Kristen Sinema and said, do you residents of Arizona want this money, this recon? If you do, then tell Sinema you want it. Well, I've been doing that all along. And I've been saying that even clearer the last few days. When you pick up the phone, if you haven't done it already today, and you call and you say, I'm an LA viewer, I need the recon. Also say, I'm from the state of. So that they know, oh, it's someone calling from a red state. Oh, it's someone calling from the state of Arizona. And I said specifically, if you're in the state of Arizona, saying in West Virginia, make that very clear in the phone call. I had a wonderful, kind viewer who sent me a very nice message on Facebook saying, I'm an Arizona resident. I love what you're doing. We all want this recon. And I'm getting all my Arizona friends. I have 400 of them on Facebook. We're all going to pick up the phone and advocate for Arizona. Yes, that's great. That's what you do. Now let's go over to that advocacy and that IRS stimulus check so you understand more about how this is working. It was 8 weeks ago I said pick up the phone and advocate for inclusion of that IRS stimulus check. And I said call your Democratic senators. And WR did. Longtime viewer of this channel called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's old confidant, nearly 8 weeks ago. And Coons' office said, yes, we're putting that monthly stimulus check in there. Then, about 3 weeks ago, you saw how this channel really picked up speed quickly. I was delivering a lot of breaking news on the hour, by the hour, just like today. I was showing you a lot of exclusives you're not going to hear anywhere else. I told you how we do the recon procedural first, and then when we do the recon substantive, it will likely be written by the House subcommittee. It was. Sheila Jackson, the lead author. It will be voted in the House subcommittee first. It did. That was 2 weeks ago. And then we'll go to the House floor next. That's where it's going. And then the senators will vote last. That's what happened. Well, will happen. Then I also said Bernie Sanders is part of the equation. He's the guy who got the $3.5 trillion price tag for you. He's the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. And 3 weeks ago, he said, unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm doing a recon. I said, if you listen to that, that means he wants to hear from you. He wants you to advocate to him. I said, pick up the phone. And Brother Joshua did, Margaret did, and Lynn Glenn did, advocating for stimulus. Now, what does advocacy look like? Let's go over advocacy just a second. Advocacy involves you telling your story with sentences that end with periods. I need this because. It can be involving something regarding your family, your neighbors, your town, your community. I need it because of my church. I need it because of my family. I need it because this is what's going on in my life. It may have something to do with you financially, or something to do with you religiously, or something have to do with your town or your business. Because everyone has a unique story. I'm sure you do as well. Everyone's story is different than the next person. And advocacy takes a very clear face. 2 examples came from viewers in the last few days. One viewer, another Margaret, said, I picked up the phone, I advocated so hard, I started breaking down in tears. The staffer did as well. Another viewer said, I lost my husband during the pandemic. I've had 10 surgeries in the pandemic. I'm raising two teenage daughters during the pandemic. That ain't going to cut it enough with just an SSI check. That's advocacy. That's true advocacy. Now, what's not advocacy? Question marks. Am I getting a check? Is it $1? Is it $2? Is it coming this week? How much? When? Where? No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear a lot of questions. It's not a question service. They want to hear your advocacy so that they can bring that advocacy to the other side and say, listen, I've gotten 1,000 phone calls from LA's viewers, and boy, are they advocating. You need to do this. And that's what happened. Brother Joshua did, Lynn Glenn and Margaret did, and Brother Joshua advocated for himself, his family, and his church, and you. He's a 2020 volunteer at the Commute page, got viewers a lot of money from this channel, and he advocated, and they said yes. Santa's office said $1,000 or $1,300, 3 to 6 months, but he needs to hear from you and support and hear your support. Unbeknownst to us, it was not so much that only Bernie needs to hear from you, but that the senators need to hear from you so that they can share it with the moderate Democrats and say, I have viewers from this LA viewers from the state of Arizona calling my office all the time. They all want it. So how can you say your citizens don't want it when I have 1,000 phone calls from Arizona saying they need it? There you go. I said pick up the phone and advocate, and then came the advocacies across the board. It came from viewers like Donnie. You met Donnie's wife early in this video. Well, what did Donnie do? He picked up the phone and advocated, and this is what Donnie wrote. You're going to see a series of screen grabs from people who write these messages on the live chat or in social media. If you have a great story to send me a private message on social media as well. Here's what Donnie wrote. Sorry, Donnie, I just lost you there. That I need it. I need it for my family. I need my fresh city. I need to progress. And Santa's office saying it's going in there. Hurricane Tina advocating as well. And Santa's office saying it's going in there. Caroline writing that she called and said people are losing their homes and what they got. And Sanders said they're putting a check in there. Lori advocating as well. The messages kept on coming on in, like Yaya, picking up the phone and advocating, saying, I need it. And Ronald Wyden's office saying it's going in there. Then we learned that advocacy should take the form of calling as many offices as you can. That's what Will did. He writes, I called Bernie, I called Liz, I called Chuck, and all 3 secretaries confirmed stimulus check. I explained my situation, how a stimulus check would make a huge impact, and I was told it is happening. Yes, it is happening. Liz Warren's office told him $1,600 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Lorica calling Bob Casey's office and getting the same message as well, and negotiations are underway. 1,000 viewers of this channel have gotten that confirmation. They got the confirmation 2 weeks ago. They got the confirmations last week. They got the confirmations this week. We've had it from Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden. Understand, in a channel that has so many graphics on a particular video at any particular time, you should continue to advocate every minute of the day. And just because you don't see a graphic on a Tuesday, but you see a graphic on a Monday, that doesn't mean that it's not still happening. It just means how many times do I have to show the same graphic? That's as simple as it is. Once you see it one time, I don't have to keep on repeating it every single day. But I will repeat it on air as you send me private messages and detail it to viewers across the board. After all these thousands of confirmations for the senators, I said reach out to the House members as well. And you did. AOC, Omar, Jalapal, Pelosi. Here comes the message from Mark with Pelosi. He writes, I got Pelosi's staff on the phone, and her staff said they would be doing a fourth stimulus check, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and that negotiations are near complete. There you go. Negotiations near complete for the inclusion of multiple stimulus checks, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, tells Pelosi's office, and the messages came in consistent with that thereafter. Here again, it's repeated by Lynn Glenn with Jalapal. Here it's repeated by Ida from Omar's office, and it continued across the board. And there you go, with the House passing that recon, cluster 1, 2, and 3 getting in there, and then those IRS stimulus checks added in there as well. Nothing is getting reduced and nothing is getting removed. The only changes are the back end. So let me explain how this works, starting with the IRS checks and then going into those changes on the back end. Again, the way you add an IRS checks is twofold, either on the House side or on the Senate side. You add it on the House side during what Pelosi says, I want changes, give me changes. You can add stuff to the recon. It's not a bill, it's a package. You want to add stuff in there, you can add it in there. Moreover, If the House doesn't take care of it, the senators will take care of it, because ultimately the senators have the last vote. That's the vote-a-rama. The final 2 days of the whole process, the senators can add things during the vote-a-rama. It's a message I've delivered a lot on this camera, but, always have to bring it back up again, that the 2-day vote-a-rama is the final 2 days of the entire process, and that's when they can add things in there. All right, now let's turn to the big exciting details, as everything that's in the recon is staying in there. Every program will remain, and every program will pay out every dollar as now passed with the recon. So where are the changes they're making? 2 items on the back end that don't concern you. 1, the duration, or 2, the taxes. First, the duration. Again, a reason why you watch this channel, because over the last few days I said, I think they could change the duration. And guess what Jalapal said last night? We can change the duration. There you go. What's the duration? I know you're immediately saying, oh no, they're going to go from 6 months to 4 months for checks. No. I'm not talking about stimulus checks changing a month. We're talking about something that's running 10 years to potentially going like, let's say, 9 years. Here's an example. When you look at a package, the packages currently are running for nearly a decade or several decades. Bernie went into that recon procedural negotiations asking for 2 decades. He got it at 1 decade for a lot of programs. That's how he went from 7 to 3.5. He just cut the duration. So what they can do is they can cut a duration from 10 years to 9 years and save a lot on the budget of the program in just a second. Jalapal had a fascinating comment about this as well, which I never would have thought of, that if we run the program for, let's say, a year or 2 less, then it's going to be such a success, then future Congresses will have problems not extending it, because Americans are going to love it. They'll say, why would you not extend it? Great news. Then the more complicated one is the other back end, and that's the taxes. How does the taxes on the back end work? Let's go over that detail right now. The way they do this is modifying the corporate taxes or the wealth tax. That is not your money, and it's not your program, and it's not how much your program pays. Let's recap. Number 1, if a program is up to $4,000 a year to care for an elderly person, it's still going to stay in there. And they're not going to change it from $4,000 to $3,500. It's still going to stay at 100%. So what do they change on the back end? They can also change how the program is funded through taxes. For example, let's say the corporate tax rate they're proposing right now is 27%. They can reduce it to 26.5 or 26.2. That's one example of how they cut it. Also, the wealth tax. They can change the wealth tax so they don't have to make as much money on the wealth tax, and hence the bill doesn't raise as much money on the wealth tax. They've been doing this all along over the last 2 weeks. This is nothing really new. They've been taking in and out inheritance tax. I don't cover it. What's important for you to understand, and this is always an important message on this channel, is that the front of the bill or the front of the package is staying the same. The back of the package is going to get changed. The front of the package, cluster, that's staying the same. And so the messaging on this channel is not going to particularly change. You don't want it to change. I mean, you just don't want that. You don't want me to come on the camera and say, oh, by the way, cluster 1's gone today. The clusters are staying there. What's changing is the back end, which I really never covered much on this channel at all. How the corporate tax rate is doing and which wealth tax. I don't even know which wealth tax it is. I mean, it's not your wealth tax, it's billionaires. I never even covered that. That's what they're modifying. Sheila Jackson, vice chair to Jalapal and the Progressive Caucus, really said it well. What did she say? as a Texan, as an elected official, she said it so clearly. She said, we have some really brilliant federal employees, longtime tenured federal employees, whose jobs is to know taxes and mathematics and numbers, not what I do. That's great. And what do? They know if I modify a 28% tax rate to a 26.2, this is what's going to happen on the back end. It's not something the progressives have to do themselves. They have staff people that do this, non-elected officials, lifetime tenured employees during Republican and Democratic tenures. And that's what they do. And they can run those numbers, crunch those numbers. Nothing you see on this channel. It's the back end. There you go. So that is how they get this done. Now, along the way, I fully have to sort of advise you of what's going on outside this channel. And I had a very nice comment from a viewer this morning who said, I turned on broadcast media, and the way it sounded on broadcast media, as Biden has now instructed to cut the recon in half, so all my checks will be in half. Lord, I mean, everything in that sentence is wrong. I mean, just, and trust me, I've seen the same bonzo, crazy messages on broadcast. They are doing a worse job than they were ever doing before in covering the subject. First, why is that all wrong? Number one, the president didn't say that. In fact, the president said the opposite. We will not focus on the price tag. We'll focus on the programs. We need to get everyone to agree to do all these programs. So he's focusing on programs, not numbers. Number two, we're not removing any programs, and we're not reducing the payment of the programs. So what are we changing? The back end. The back end can get the $3.5 trillion number to a different number by changing taxes or changing the duration, not by taking out programs and not by removing your checks. That's not what they're doing at all. Otherwise, that would have made no sense. So yeah, needless to say, we're going to have a lot of battles over the next few days as broadcast media is just making it worse by the minute. All right, let's turn to the big exciting details about third stimulus, and it heats up right now. You know, it's very funny because this channel launched with me recording EIDL videos. Why? Broadcast media never told you about EIDL. I never heard about EIDL. I heard it from a friend of a friend. And that's why this channel existed, because broadcast media wasn't covering it. Third stimulus, same situation. One of the messages I was very big on in 2020, I've now brought back in this channel, is financial independence. I want you to get as much money as you can across the board. And that financial independence starts right now. So get a pen, paper, cell phone ready. I'm going to get you some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, money for clothing, SNAP, holiday gifts, food, electricity, and more. And starts right now. First, we're going to go over the rent, the utilities, and also the SNAP. These monies have gone up a lot. Look at the financial independence you can get for yourself right here. Look at this. $20,000 from Nisi to $20,000 for Elizabeth, financial independence, getting their rent paid many, many, many months. Now viewers are getting $40,000 of rent. I have had some viewers do exactly what I asked, and they've gotten rent paid into 2022. When we talk about utilities, look at these numbers. Now viewers are telling me they're getting utilities paid into 2022 as well, and $15,000. When we talk about SNAP, can you imagine all your food being paid for lifetime now with a 25% increase because I made a video for you? I mean, it's just astronomically mind-blowing. Viewers are now getting $21,000 a year in the month of September, now heading to $26,000 a year lifetime because of my recordings for Snap. So get that pen paper ready. It's time to get that big money. I want you to get financially independent. I want you to do it right now. We're going to get some rent, utilities, mortgage, and more. First, the rent. First, these first items. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. You reach out to all 6 places. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. Number 2, I want you to listen to the keywords I say in this video. And number 3, get ready for the nonprofits. Here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Number 2, I want you to get utilities from as many places as you can. So if you got 5 utility companies, reach out to all 5. Tim got this money and Linda got this money for rent. If you got any of this money for rent or utilities, post it in the live chat right now. You inspire other people. Next, if you're a member, which I hope you are, the newsletter has the statement from Treasury about the rent. The statement from Treasury I want you to read. It goes along the lines of this. Treasury happen to provide the state and local government programs with additional resources to help Americans in time of rental assistance. I want you to know what this is so that when you call up, say, hey, did you get the money? They will get the money, 100% guaranteed, but it won't be there forever. Red, blue, rich, and poor states. Every one of them is getting it. Next, SNAP. Get that SNAP. You reach out to the Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. It's money for food. And how much is it paying? Everyone's benefits are going up an average of 25% lifetime automatically starting in October. Mark's brother-in-law getting $26,000 a year because of my videos. Wow. Lynn Glenn Gale got this money as well. If you got SNAP, post in the live chat right now. Then we go to those refund checks. One coming back from your state due to overpayment and computer error. You can reach out to your state to track it. Average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. and then the refund check back from your IRS for the taxes you paid on that 2020 return. The average payment on that is $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it, Mark got it. If you got any sums of money, post it in the live chat, because when you do, you inspire other people across the board. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. The members are delivered a newsletter every night after Evenings LA at about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, from the LALATE alert system, which is free, and the YouTube alert system, which is also free. That member newsletter features all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus for you to get. And I want you to get it. I want you to get all this big money. Johnny from this channel got $80,000. Mark, $51,000. Johnny's two friends and family members, $100,000. Lorraine got $105,000. Now she's heading to $110,000. People have gotten big sums of money. If you've had a success story, send it me on private message. I want you to make 3 promises to yourself. First, I want you to get the rent and utilities and these items as far into 2022 as possible, because I don't think a lot of these programs will repeat themselves under fourth stimulus. I don't think rent and mortgage is coming back. It's being available to be paid for now. Get it now and get as far into 2022. And I think that's probably going to be the final run on the rent. Remember, I used to record rent videos outside in 2020, and we fought so hard to get them. They weren't around in 2020. They were around in 2021. I think they're not going to be back over around in 2022. I don't think they're coming back, but I might be wrong. Number 2, lean on the nonprofits. The nonprofits are doing great turnaround times. The nonprofits are doing great turnaround times. What are the nonprofits? Here you go. They are also featured in the nightly newsletter. They are United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. The nonprofits pay for the same items that the federal government does on the third stimulus, but with different eligibility. So if you have an eligibility problem, reach out to the nonprofits. They pay a lot of money, and guess what? They also pay for items that the federal government doesn't pay on the third stimulus. I had one viewer contact me the other day from his car. He's homeless. I said, the nonprofits, they help homeless people get in shelters. They also help with clothing. They help with food. And guess what? They sometimes do appliances. 2 viewers have gotten refrigerators. Another viewer got a furnace and a window fixed. Those 5 nonprofits, again, United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities. The big thing about the nonprofits is two items. Number 1, you can get money from multiple places, so get it from multiple places. Don't apply with one application and just call it a day. Apply in 20 different places. You can get money from multiple sources for the same item. All the viewers of this channel generally do that. You can get it from this item and that item. And also, remember, the nonprofits are having big, fast, quick turnaround times right now because it's still relatively warm outside. It's not winter yet. Once winter comes in, late October, November, they get swarmed. Then the situation gets totally different. Viewers are reporting quick turnaround times for rent and utilities for payment less than 24 hours from St. Vincent de Paul and United Way. Then finally, also make the promise for yourselves to get these money from the nonprofits now, not later. Finally, holiday gifts. If you need holiday gifts, reach out to Salvation Army. They do it right now. One viewer said that there's a wonderful new program for veterans to ensure that you're not homeless either. Those programs across the board. Finally, let's go into, and there you go. That is the why you want to become a member as well. And finally, let's go into the big update as we go into a big night across the board. The incredible details is that a $3.5 trillion recon is passed, and everything in that recon is happening. Nothing is getting removed, and the only thing added is going in, so says the Democratic senators and House members, is a monthly stimulus check. Cluster number 1, staying in there, hazard pay. $4,000 for elder care and more items across the board. Cluster number 2, staying in there, includes hazard pay and paid paid leave. Cluster number 3, staying in there, including the Medicare changes and the free internet. All the items are staying in there, no reduction of any item. The only thing being changed is the back end, duration and taxes. Meantime, advocacy starts here, and you absolutely should not stop because the senators love your advocacy. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden. Call multiple offices. Say why your situation is unique. AOC, Omar, Jalapal, Pelosi, and Sheila Jackson. Everyone has a unique story. realize what your unique story is before you make the phone call. Think it through. Remember, you're trying to tell your unique story. What's going on with you? Why you should have it? Whether it's something at your home or your town or community. Make that advocacy call. And meantime, stay with me because we got a lot coming up still later today. Coming up right after this video, it'll automatically take you to our new hit show called Evening's Countdown. It starts every night at 6 o'clock. Then we got a show at 7 o'clock, Street Stimulus. Then Sirloin at 8 o'clock. And then shows at 9, 10, and 11:30 every night. We're back tomorrow with Early Mornings LATE, always at 4 a.m. And the overnight shows at 3 and 3:30. Then we got Mornings Countdown at 7 a.m. And then Mornings LA live on air at 9 a.m. And with that, I'm glad you joined me, and I want you to subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button. The most informed, the most educated, and the most in-depth viewers as you could wish. You have really learned everything there needs to be learned, and as more information comes in and the news cycle changes by the hour, I'll deliver you anything across the board you need to know. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.